Welcome to Dom's Roundtable, my friends. I can finally reveal to you that Koei Tecmo have very kindly provided me with early access to Dynasty Warriors Origins. Going into this experience, before I actually played, I was very skeptical as to whether I'd enjoy it, and therefore whether I even wanted to create any content, especially given that you now play as some random guy, rather than living the lives of the epic heroes that we've all come to know and love over the decades. There was also a few other changes as well, which I initially didn't think would work, and we'll go into the specifics shortly. But after over 50 hours played so far, I have come to the conclusion that I actually love Dynasty Warriors Origins. So before we jump into the important information that I have for you today to help you determine whether this game is worth your time, please note this isn't specifically a review, there's bloody hundreds of them, so yet another one would be a bit redundant. This video is to highlight some of the important features of the game to help you determine whether the newest entry into the Dynasty Warriors series is for you. We'll cover new and returning mechanics, game length, alternative endings, new game plus, combat, secrets, missables, character development, and everything in between. So buckle up and let's jump straight into it. Oh, and also, if you're not subscribed yet, you really should consider it. I create in-depth guides for as many new releases as I physically have time to cover, so if you'd like more time to enjoy your favorite games and less time fumbling around trying to figure out the nitty-gritty, this is one of the best places to do just that. First and foremost, the 1 versus 1000 gameplay is back with a bang. You feel like a complete badass frequently in Origins, taking out hundreds upon hundreds of soldiers with a single swing of your weapon, in gameplay that's just over the top enough to feel incredibly awesome without bordering the complete ridiculous. But don't get me wrong, there are some very tough moments in this game too, with a revamped blocking and parrying system and the introduction of many boss battles and dueling missions. The game will push your skills and force you to really learn your weapons, your parrying, and your skills, until the point where you are dodging and parrying attacks like an absolute god and you can go back and no-hit Lu Bu. Now, obviously, in a Dynasty Warriors game, fighting is the main focus, so before I talk to you about the Overworld and some of the other new features, let's delve into what's on offer in the heat of battle. At launch, there will be 9 different types of weapons for you to master, and in roughly the order that you unlock them, you have got the sword, spear, and gauntlets, the wheels, podao, and staff, the twin pikes, the lance, and the crescent blade. All of these weapons come with 8 upgrade levels, unlocking more and more actions, abilities, and skills as you progress, and they all have wildly different movesets, meaning there should be a moveset for everyone, no matter what your usual fighting style is. I have so much to cover in this video that I don't want to dwell too long on weapons, so if you'd like a full breakdown of all of the different weapons and which one may be your favourite, I will do that in a separate video. For now though, please note that it is very easy to familiarise yourself with the advanced features unique to each weapon due to the implementation of a full list of weapon-specific controls that you can access at any time. In a mission, just open your menu, go to the controls, and you will see a full list of every single action you can do with your weapon. You can then even take this one step further by taking your weapons into test mode, where you can play around with the weapon against never-ending waves of varying levels of enemies. And the game heavily rewards you by mastering all 9 weapon types and maxing every single one out at the highest level of level 8, by also rewarding you with rank levels. The highest rank level you can currently achieve is 64, and every time you increase your rank level, you will in turn increase your character's overall stats, and this benefits all weapons. So this will grant you benefits such as increasing your health, your attack, and your defense, along with a bunch of other benefits such as unlocking new skill panels and increasing your bravery. We'll expand on skill panels and bravery briefly later on in the video and fully in my next upcoming tips video. So you are very much encouraged to max out every single weapon so you can also max out your player's rank level, because this is a great way to max out all of your stats and give you the best chance of beating all of the challenges the game has in store for you. And if you're curious, the ranks are as follows. You start off as nothing, no title, a nobody, and at rank 3 you earn the title of Knight Errant. From here you gain the rank of Adept at level 7. At level 15 you become an Expert. You are then granted the rank of Master at level 25, you become a hero at level 31, and then finally at level 38 you achieve the rank of Musou, which takes you all the way to the current maximum of rank 64. Now let's talk about another feature I absolutely love called Companions. You will unlock this around the start of Chapter 2, and this will allow you to not only fight alongside your favourite officers and characters, but also fight as them. As you are fighting alongside building up your own Musou gauge, your companions will also be building up theirs. And when it is full, you can switch over and control them for a small period of time. You can use their abilities, moves, and weapons just as though it's your own character. And if you opt to not transform into God Rage mode, which I'll talk about more in a second, the game will force you into God Rage mode after around 20 seconds or so. And once God Rage mode has expired, you will automatically unleash your true Musou attack, and then you will switch back to your main player character. Another thing you can do as you're fighting alongside your companion, if you both have enough Musou gauge built up and you are close to each other, you can unleash an extreme Musou attack, which is nearly as powerful as true Musou when you're both using it at the same time for double damage. And obviously I just mentioned God Rage mode. If you let your gauge build all the way up to the end, then when you press L3 and R3 you will enter God Rage mode, which allows you to infinitely spam all of your abilities, though this will burn down that gauge quicker than if you're just using regular attacks. It will also make you invincible, you will stagger enemies quicker, and by unlocking certain skills in the skill tree, there are even more added benefits, such as healing you every single time you damage an enemy. So there are definitely many benefits of letting that gauge fill completely, rather than just letting it build up to the point where you can use your Musou attack and then using that to deplete it. As mentioned a few times, you also rank up and unlock different ranks, which will then introduce more and more skill trees to your character. To learn the skills in these skill trees, you obviously need skill points, and these come from various different sources. You will earn a few points from your feats in combat, such as capturing bases, defeating big officers, and hitting big kill streaks like 100, 500, and 1000. You can then spend these skill points in the skill trees as you unlock them, and again, as mentioned, they are at Knight Errant, Adept, Expert, and so on. And some of these skills can completely change up your playstyle, unlocking some very powerful abilities. It does appear as though skills are non-refundable, but don't worry, you are getting thousands of skill points throughout your playthroughs, so eventually you will max out every single tree, so you don't really need to worry about what you pick and when. Now that you know most of the gist of how combat works and you've seen enough of it, let's talk about a few of the other features and mechanics that surround Dynasty Warriors Origins. Another thing you probably want to know is how long is the game, how many chapters are there additional endings, what is the game length in total, are you getting your money's worth if you buy this game? And I have a lot of information for you in this regard. Your first playthrough is going to be 5 chapters long. The first 2 chapters are basically your tutorial. Then at the start of chapter 3, this is where the game starts to get very diverse and you start having to make literally game-changing choices, eventually forcing you to be allied with one of the 3 main factions. And by that I mean allying yourself with either Cao Cao, Liu Bei, or the Sun family. However, if you think you will struggle to make this decision, fear not, for the game has a New Game Plus mode. And in fact, you do need to go through the game 3 full times, allying with a different faction each time, for you will then unlock the true ending. And what's even better is if you only care about the storyline when you're working towards that true ending, you can skip the first 2 chapters on subsequent playthroughs and just start on chapter 3 and go ahead and pick your faction straight away. Your first full playthrough is likely to take you around 40 hours, with the full game, if you opt to do all playthroughs and the true ending, being around 100 to 120 hours long. Another great benefit about New Game Plus is when you unlock this, alongside it simultaneously, you will unlock the ability to replay all battles up to this point. More will be added as you go through your subsequent playthroughs, but for instance, you can go back and do things you weren't able to last time, such as trying to solo Lu Bu or farming for certain achievements. So with 5 chapters, 3 or 4 completely unique playthroughs, and the ability to replay battles, there is genuinely well over 100 hours of unique content in this game. That doesn't even consider if you want to replay it just because of how solid of a game it is. You really are getting a lot of bang for your buck if you enjoy the gameplay and if you enjoy this style of game. Another topic I wanted to touch on is the overworld. I won't go into huge amounts of detail because I don't want this video to start leaking into a guide. I've got guides coming. But the overworld is simple and fun, and you can do lots of really cool things here. So this is where you will speak to officers, both for missions and also for bonds. Bonds are activities you will do to increase your relationship with officers, and they will grant you special rewards and also training missions. Training missions are a fantastic way to get loads and loads of skill points to max out your skill trees. Alongside this, you will find a variety of materials hidden around the world as well. There is a special type of ore that you can mine to upgrade your gems. There are herbs that you can find to increase the potency of your gems. And there are also old coins that you need to collect, which will grant you even more exclusive rewards. Now, most of that probably won't mean anything to you at the moment. I will cover it all in detail in my beginner's guide. I just want to let you know these are things you can do. This is what the overworld looks like. It's nice and fleshed out, it's fun, it's simple, it's easy to use, it's not the main focus of the game. It's just a nice, cool little addition to have. There are also main towns you can go and visit. There is an inn at each town where you can read your letters, you can change your equipment, you can buy and sell weapons, and a few other things. Another thing I wanted to bring up is actually the audio settings. I love to play games and watch things in the original intended audio. So, for instance, Squid Game is always in Korean for me, Yakuza is always in Japanese for me, so I wanted to put this in Chinese. And I will say, I do feel like the Chinese voice acting is absolutely incredible. I strongly recommend it for that reason. However, I did end up having to switch to English for one very important reason that you probably are going to want to keep in your head. Fights can get really intense late game, and usually if you lose, it's because you're not helping out your allies, you're only focusing on yourself. When you get really good at this game, unless you're playing on the hardest difficulty, it's quite hard to die, but it is very easy for all your allies to die, and then you will naturally lose. And in the heat of combat, many actions are being screamed at you from all over the battlefield, making it nearly impossible to read all of these subtitles and all of these speech boxes that keep popping up in the middle of battle because I can't understand Chinese. So I did end up having to go back into the settings and switching it over to English, because this way, even if I'm in the middle of a very heated battle against 3 or more enemy officers, I can still then listen out for these updates and quickly get a grasp on whether this is just an informational update, whether an ally is saying something positive, or whether they need help and they are saying something negative. Therefore, I can go over and help them out. And when people do get their hands on this game, your argument might be, well, you can turn a setting on that briefly pauses the game when something is going wrong. And there is, that option exists, and it's awesome, but it's not perfect. It doesn't help you out all the time, because with that option on, the game is pausing a lot, and usually it's just for informational updates. And you'll see as you play the game more and more, you can't always rely on that. Sometimes your allied officers will all of a sudden be losing a fight. They will let you know verbally, and then about 30 seconds later, if you don't get there quick enough, they're dead and the mission is ruined. So for that reason, I say probably play this game in whatever language you are most fluent in, because you're going to need them audio cues to help you save your allies. There is so many more things I could tell you about this game. In fact, there's a bunch of specifics I've been deliberately holding myself back from saying because I don't want to ruin the actual gameplay experience and any of the story for you. For instance, I wanted to delve into the kind of what the extra playthroughs add to the game and what the true ending's all about. But if I give you even a hint of information, it will completely ruin the twists. So I'm going to leave that out and just let you know that it's really cool. That being said, if there's anything you would like to know before you commit your money and your time to this game, feel free to jump in my Discord server, link down below in the description, and ask me any question you want. I'm always up for having a conversation about anything. So jump in the Discord server and let's have a chat about Dynasty Warriors Origins and basically anything really. And with that, all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.